This is Wednesday, September 6, 2023, 7 o'clock council meeting. Everyone would stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for all the blessings that you provide. Please continue your hand of grace over our school system, our police department, our fire department, our service workers, our administrations, and all our visitors. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay. Ms. Raleigh, roll call, please.
Ms. Grazia? Here. Mr. Hamer?
Here.
Mr. Lowry? Mr. Schulz?
Here.
Mr. Smolik?
Here.
Mr. Ziegler? Mr. Fenstermaker?
Here.
Thank you. Okay, for reading and approval of minutes of the August 21st, 2023 work session, need a motion in a second?
Motion.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions, corrections? Ms. Raleigh, roll call, please.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Schulz?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
To the minutes of the August 21st, 2023 council meeting. Need a motion and a second?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions, changes needed? Roll call, Ms. Raleigh.
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Schulz?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Okay, on to department reports. Chief Hutton.
Thank you, Mr. Smolik. Not a lot to report tonight. You will have our formal report next meeting. I would like to say we were very busy last month. We had 154 calls, a lot of storm-related calls, but also 79 EMS incidents. One big thing, the new Cleveland Clinic Mentor Hospital, I told you we would hopefully be transporting there. Last month, we had 22 transports to that hospital. Turnaround time is very quick. It's a really good thing for us to have that hospital there. The pickup truck that's on the agenda, I would ask if council is willing to pass that tonight so we could move on that. And that's it. I'm open for any questions.
Any questions for Chief Hutton? Chief, you said 154 storm-related calls?
150 total.
150 total, gotcha.
Right.
Okay. For Tanny storm-related anything, we obviously we had power out up to, was it 6-7 days? I believe Raccoon House, Shadowbrook had it out the longest, or who had it out the longest in our in the city? I was out about till Monday midnight on Rockwood Ledgewood.
Right. I think Shadowbrook, Raccoon, they were out the longest.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
there were certain homes, you know, some single family homes that were out a little bit longer, but actually Kirtland fared much better than Mentor and East Lake and North Willoughby.
Wade Hill have much issues? I know one house I have over there is
Wade Hill
What about
always seems to
Tuesday?
have issues through Metcalf, and that the lines through Metcalf actually affect the old town. We have a lot of power outages down there that are due to everything in Metcalf is back in the woods, runs behind the tree line. So there's always problems every time it storms.
anything you found shortage-wise, or meaning that you guys were lacking as fire police departments, so to speak, on the storm? Or you guys have pretty well stocked and you had everything you had?
No, I think we fared very well with the storm. We did okay.
Thank you. Any other questions for Chief Hutton? Chief McAllister.
Thank you, Council President Smolik. Just a few items to report. We're Monday, 9/11, we'll be going over to the school for their local heroes parade. We'll be joining Lakeland Community College, the Rangers, Wade Hill, and Kirtland Hills to do a small parade for the students over there. And the fire department. Friendly reminder. Julia DeWolf is scheduled to go to DARE 918 through 929. She'll be working with the schools to institute a DARE program again in our schools, something I think has been long overdue in Kirtland. Julia was also recognized for a Hometown Hero Award, and she'll be recognized this Saturday, I believe, at 11 a.m. over at Minter Mall outside of the food court area. We'll be attending that. We also recently were able to make a $4,500 purchase to our OMBI fund that's funded through the work that Prosecutor Lalo does at the courts and all the OVI enforcement that we're doing in the city. We were able to purchase $4,500 of prom promise equipment so we can fund and have that program in the schools around the time that prom comes out, so we can educate and inform the kids about the consequences of driving while under the influence. Additionally, I know we had ordinance number 23058. I had worked with the mayor on that, and I'd listened in on the last council meeting and saw some of the questions specifically aimed at Jake braking alone. This ordinance is being instituted to stop the noise specifically associated with Jake braking. So those engine systems that don't have the retarding systems on them that are making the excessive noise is the reason that we put this on the book. We've had some specific issues, especially coming down the hill in the area of 306 and the 615 area, where several residents have come forward to express concerns about that. So we needed something to be able to take some type of an enforcement action, post some signage in order to inform people that it's something we'd rather not have in the city. I believe that's all I have. That'll conclude my report, but I am open for any questions.
Any questions for Chief McAllister?
Chief McAllister, just on the Jake break, there's a lot of misinformation out there, of course, with why we're putting this ordinance in place. We're not saying that somebody can't use their Jake brake in an emergency situation. I just want to make sure that's clarified.
That's correct, and that's specifically worded in the ordinance that it is permissible under an emergency situation.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief McAllister? Per that also, I believe, what other cities, surrounding cities have that? I know Willoughby Hills has that. Does Kirtland Hills have that also? Or any of the other city menor with
I know several other cities have it. I don't remember the specific ones, but I did quite a bit of research trying to find what I felt was the proper language for the city of Kirtland in this, and this kind of felt like it met our needs. A lot of the other provisions don't allow for the emergency Jake braking, and this one did, which is why we chose to go with that language, because we do understand that it is something that may have to happen from time to time.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, on to Mr. Fernaro.
Good evening, everybody. I need to start off, like always, thanking our team for working through them storms, some long hours and some challenging conditions. They did a great job. Also like to thank police and fire. They're always there helping us out. Like I said before, it's a really unique city where all three departments get along and help each other out. It's really something special here. The community center for opening up for our residents, that was a great idea. Also, we have solid waste on here. I'll take any questions when that comes up. But anyone want to take a guess on how much rain we got in that short span of 2.5 days?
We got 3 to 5 inches on Wednesday night, I believe, and then I don't know what we had additional the next night.
The total in the river was 3.35 inches in less than 12 hours. So I'd like to thank our residents also for being patient through all that, like we do always. You know, a little bit of patience goes a long way. We'll get there and help you clean up. That completes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Fernaro?
Mr. Farrow, I think I saw an announcement on a brush pickup. Has that occurred, or is that set to occur? It is. So the storm cleanup, we did another cleanup just for the storm. There was 10 people that requested pickup. 9 of them got done today. We have 1 more left for tomorrow. And then our fall brush pickup will start at the end of October and the first week of November. Thank you.
Pertaining to the storm, what was the obviously tree issues? A lot of uprooted, or just a lot of trees down, so to speak, snapped, or a lot of uprooted with all the rain?
Not so much uprooted. One uprooted on 306, which took out that pole and that transformer, but mostly just branches. And of course, a little bit of flooding.
Thank you, Mr. Fernaro.
Yeah,
One last question, Mr. Fenaro. That's kind of unprecedented rainfall in that period of time. Certainly understand that. Did we experience any issues with the recent work? Oh my, I'm having a moment here. At Cul-de-sac Street where we just did the drainage. Yeah,
No issues on Fox Hill, and really, the flooding we have, so rule of thumb is that water needs to dissipate in 24 hours, and pretty much all of it was gone.
okay, fantastic. So we didn't have experience any other culvert failures or head wall failures?
The initial rain, right? But after that 24-hour period, everything was back to normal.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Oh, and also, do we have a lot of debris to clean on the bridge also?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we touched on that or not. So I don't know if anyone noticed, the bridge on 306 was shut down to one lane. It was the width of the bridge and about 20 feet out to the east, just jam-packed to within inches of the underneath of the bridge. Van Kuren came out. They were on the scene within 2 hours. They had 3 triaxles there. The road was opened back up by 3:30, 3:45.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Fernaro?
Mr. Fenaro, that occurred before, and were we fortunate enough to use stormwater dollars
So
for that cleanup?
Stormwater will reimburse us.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, on to Mr. Courtney.
Thank you. Evening, everyone. Start with the street program. Blueberry Hill has been recycled. It's currently in its curing period. Mid to late next week, we'll do a proof roll to determine the full depth repair areas on that street. And then once those are performed, we'll be able to get the new asphalt on it. Fox Hill should begin on that, about that same schedule, mid to late next week, with pavement planing, full depth repairs and resurfacing after that. State bid repair work was performed by Specialized Construction on Hobart and Regency Woods Drive from Kirtland Chardon out to Cardinal. And the rehabilitation of Crestwood from Oakwood north or south to the cul-de-sac should begin late September, early October. That's Colburton Contractors, if you recall. We're coordinating with them now to get a pre-construction meeting set for that work. Old Town sewer improvements, we're waiting notification from the county that the sewers have been accepted so that people can start tying in. No updates on the bridge projects. Stormwater projects, Rockwood Stormwater Basin, 4 bids were received on August 24th. The engineer's estimate for that work was $80,145, and the low bid was submitted by Eclipse Companies with a bid of $73,635.50. And that's on tonight's agenda as Resolution 23R64. Appreciate it. That's passed tonight.
Any questions for Mr. Courtney?
Mr. Courtney, when do you anticipate to begin work and end work for that contract?
For Rockwood,
Yeah,
likely early October. And the contractor in his bid actually said it was only going to take him 7 days. I'm putting 2 weeks on it, so.
Early October in about 7 days, he's figuring?
Pardon?
Early October schedule in 7 days, is that what you?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get it done in 7 days. We'll,
so they do the seeding? I mean, how do we guarantee the establishment of any seeding?
in the specifications, we write that they have to achieve 80% growth before we'll accept the seeding. So
Okay,
if they have to come back in the spring because it didn't take or anything like that,
okay. That's where I was leading.
Before,
They
yeah.
can come back if it doesn't, these rainfalls can make everything go away pretty quickly.
yes, they can.
Any other questions for Mr. Courtney? Doug, actually pertaining to Hobart and Regency Woods, I haven't driven Regency, but I've been up and down Hobart. Huge improvement there, obviously, with that eastbound shoulder, so that makes that a lot better drive. I've heard from about a half dozen people in Regency. They've all been very happy with the work over there. Obviously, that's been a bit of a rough one for the last couple of months while they were getting that stuff going. And the bridge you mentioned, no update. You're talking the Sanctuary Bridge then?
The ODOT bridge project for
Oh, okay.
306. They did
Sanctuary
it-
Bridge project, I know that's Kirtland Hills. Is that still scheduled for October, middle October to finish up then?
I do
was
not
the
know
original.
the schedule on that one.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, on to Mr. Lallo.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I don't have too much to offer at this point. We do have one administrative appeal pending in the Court of Common Pleas. We did receive that brief, so now it's, like the appellant's brief. Now it's my turn to research and draft a brief in response. So that's due at the end of the month. We also have some projects going forward in planning and zoning, addressing some of those issues that'll be discussed next week. Lastly, there is during the work session, there was a discussion about modifying 230-63 to include a provision about specifying which fund it will be paid from. So I did reach out to Mr. Slapnicker, Finance Director, and I have language to include in that. So when it gets to that point, after the reading of that, I do ask to be heard to provide the language. Aside from that, I don't have anything further to add.
That was 23-0-63 that you're going to be
Yes, sir.
chiming. Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lallo? Not this time. Ms. Zeri, update on the Community Senior Center?
Good evening, everybody. As ever, it's been very, very busy down at the community center. I don't think I've publicly thanked Lake Tran. We took a bus of seniors to the Guardians game today and sat through a wonderful rain delay, but got the win. We work with the special transportation services with Lake Tran. We have an annual contract with them, and they provide all of our bus services, which has allowed us to do at least 2 bus trips a month. We go to very interesting places. And today it managed to get the Guardians a win. So thanks to Lake Tran specifically for working with the area senior centers. Last week we had our senior summer camp, which we do annually. This month it was a farm theme. So to those who brought animals and came to our produce giveaway and our lunch and all sorts of fun raffles and giveaways, it was a great week and a good way to end the summer. If we have a ton of events coming up, our newsletter is online. So if anyone wants to see any of the events, as well as a calendar, it's on both the city website as well as kirtlandcommunity.com. So there's also 2 pages of community events as well. So if there's any specific event that you would like to come to, anybody obviously on council, administration, you are certainly welcome to do so. Just let me know. I'm open to any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Zeri? Thank you.
Ms. Zeri, relative to the storm, how many folks took it? Yeah, that's that apple you were talking about. How many visitors did we have during the emergency situation?
On Friday night, I stayed until about 8:30, and we had a handful that came in to charge and all of that. We happened to be open on Saturday for the Red Cross blood drive anyway. I was not there, but our attendant said there was a good amount of people who came into the lobby.
Thank you.
Senior Center, they didn't lose power over there, or very shortly, did they? Senior Center, Community Center didn't lose power, or?
According to our Ring camera, we lost power for about 3 minutes
Okay.
at like 12:45, and then came right back on. So fortunately, we did not lose any. We lost the internet for a day, but other than that, we could hotspot in with our phones. So we were very fortunate.
Okay, thank you. On to Mayor Potter.
Thank you, Council President Smolik. Just to reiterate the Chief's and Mr. Finaro's report related to the storm, thanks again to police, fire, and service, and to our community center and senior center director, Teresa, for helping our community get through the storm as quickly as we were able to. And I know there were some long nights for a lot of our folks, so thank you, and glad that everybody stayed safe. And ultimately, thank you to the community for their patience while the power was out. Some folks were out for a good solid 4 days plus. So thank you to everybody for the patience. People really were patient here in Kirtland. Had the honor to speak a couple weeks ago at the Joseph Smith Home dedication here at the top of the hill. Everybody, I'm sure, has noticed the rehabilitation renovation of the home just to the north of the temple and to the cemetery. I can't say how appreciative I am at the great work done by the team over there from the LDS community, and the contractor working with Mr. Finaro, Mr. Courtney. The church just did a phenomenal job restoring that facility. If you haven't had a chance to get in there yet and walk through, tours are open daily. It's really, really a phenomenal outcome and great for our community. So thanks to everybody for their hard work during that process. Thanks to Planning and Zoning Board as well, and Mr. Lallo helping to walk through that process as well for the last couple of years. So it came out great. Thanks to the neighborhood for their patience during that time, and thanks again to the church for working so diligently and thoughtfully with that neighborhood. We've got some ordinances that we talked about in our work session. The ordinance related to the engine brakes. I think you guys will have probably a little bit of discussion when it comes to that reading. And the resolution 23R61, the tax levy legislation. Louis Slapnicker, our finance director, is not here this evening, but he did ask that is passed tonight. As I mentioned in the work session, it is a formality. We go through this every year. The county sets the rates, and there's not a whole heck of a lot that we can change about that. So it's just us accepting those rates certified by the county. On to the pickup truck. Chief Hutton spoke about that in our work session as well. It's a good opportunity for the fire department to get another capital item, piece of equipment that they so need, make sure we keep our community safe. Same with our mini excavator. We talked about how we had sold the large excavator that was purchased, I think 7 or 8 years ago, during the period of the road levy, and we recently sold that on Gov Deals. That piece of equipment was a little bit large for what we do along our roadways, so we sold that on Gov Deals. I think we received about $71,000 for that. I think the original purchase was about $100,000 on that. Anyhow, those dollars were returned to the road levy fund to go back into our roads. And then with this piece of equipment, as well as the truck for the fire department, those are both funded out of the general fund. And I did want to bring up that Mr. Slapnicker gave me a couple of statistics here real quick, since he's not going to be here. Income tax is about 76% collections, and as compared to the expectation would have been 67% collected at this point. So a little bit ahead on the income tax. And then property tax, we kind of forecasted this from the beginning. The county always asked us to estimate low with our property tax, and that came up about 7% above our budget, so that those final collections are in as well. So anyhow, the point is that we had talked about earlier in the year, Chief Hutton and I, as we monitor our income tax and our tax receipts, that if we could pull the trigger at some point to get this vehicle for the fire department, we would. And that's what we're here tonight to do, or hopefully to do tonight. And the same thing goes for the mini excavator. Related to the Rockwood drainage project, as Mr. Courtney said, that would be very good to get that passed tonight and be able to start that work while the weather's still amenable to that kind of work. So I am open. Oh, and I don't think, Mr. Finaro, did you bring up the plow truck that came in, Joe? Okay. So yeah, thanks to council again for budgeting that.
Jump in.
Yeah, please take over on that one.
Yep, we're happy to announce the new Freightliner came in last Friday, and we're really excited about that one. So thank you again for approving that.
Is that fully loaded out with the plow and everything? Was that open? Okay.
I thought you meant with like leather, fully loaded moonroof.
Got the spinners on it.
So I am open for any questions as well.
Mayor, I was going to ask Louis tonight, just a summary of the capital equipment that we purchased in 23 between the fire department, the police department, and the service department. I think it would be good to share that. I mean, it's available, of course, But I think we should share the summary
roll it
of
up, sure.
what capital's been rolled out this year on equipment.
No, I think that's good. I think you're right. It's, we're in here week in and week out or twice a month and we talk about these things and council passes these and to support our departments, but I think a summary would be in order. So thank you, Councilman Fenstermaker. We will ask Lewis for that.
Mayor, I wanted to follow up to a comment I asked you last meeting relative to the records retention policy, and you mentioned you still needed to appoint somebody to that commission. Could you give an update on that?
Have not appointed anyone to that position yet.
Okay. Secondly, just going to bring this up again, and you were copied on the email from a neighbor to the farm parks relative to the noise relating to the dog park there. So I don't know, I did not see a response from the executive director of the farm park relative to his noise complaint.
Yeah, as luck would have it, I suppose I was at a middle school football game just before this meeting tonight, and I had a chance to sit with the director at that game, and he mentioned that, and that kind of what they've been doing all along. They've asked people at the parties to turn the music down. They've turned the direction of the speakers related to the dog park. They try to monitor, who's showing up when, before hours, and those kinds of things. So, unfortunately, I know it's been an ongoing thing with at least one immediate neighbor. So hopefully we can continue to work toward the parks can continue to do what they do and try to improve the situation for the neighbor.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor?
Mayor, you said was it income tax is 7% higher than budget right now?
Yes, that was
That property tax?
Yep, that's what Lewis said. I'm sorry, property tax.
Property tax.
And actually, income tax is about the same too, I think. It's about 9%. Ahead of where we would have budgeted to have our receipts be at this point. So hopefully that holds true for the rest of the year. If that same kind of trajectory would be a nice way to end the year.
Any other questions for Mayor Potter? Okay, on to standing committee reports. We actually had a service committee on August 31st, was that, Mr. Farrell? I believe at 8:31 pertaining to the waste contracts. I believe I forwarded that to everyone on council. We had four contractors bid. I forwarded you the information on the two low ones. Republic and Kimball? I got it mixed up. I got Major and Kimball.
The two, Waste Management and Dumpster Bandit.
But the two high ones were Major.
Kimball and Major.
Yeah, Kimball and Major were the two high ones, so you just have the two low ones in front of you. Did the numbers on that? Would this be proper time to have any sort of discussion, Mr. Lally, then?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. I had broken it down to with the annuals on that, and then also the per resident, and then for the city hall, fire departments, police department too. I don't know, did everybody get a chance to look through that then? Any
Yes.
thoughts? Any questions?
How does that look relative to the last contract?
Was it 63 cents?
It's actually a cost saving in year one compared to. Correct.
It rolls up to the cost of residents, but you did a nice job.
Mr. Fernaro put all the real stuff together. I just did totals. I did totals on it, Mr. Fernaro.
Okay, I didn't see the spreadsheet. I was reading the text.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, year 4 and 5, it's an increase to the residents, correct?
Mr. Lell?
I'm pulling it up right now as well.
It is an increase, but it's very marginal.
Oh, yeah, I know. I agree. I was getting to that. It is very marginal.
Yes, that is accurate. Looking at it right now.
No, I'm asking you, with the two companies present, is this the time since it's being discussed?
Because it is being discussed, if you do have questions of either of those bidders, you can discuss it with them.
Actually, I see the waste management gentleman
I
here.
think there's,
Who's all here from waste collection?
When we have Waste Management and Dumpster Bandit are here, when they come to the podium, they could give their names.
Correct. If you want them to speak, you can invite them to speak.
I would
It's-
invite them.
As council president, you have the,
Have some questions? Scott, do you have any? Okay. If you'd like to stop, we can start with the dumpster bandit representative, please. Please state your name.
name and business address, please.
My name is Mark Horvath.
Microphone.
My name is Mark Horvath. I'm the co-owner of Dumpster Bandit with my wife. Our address is P.O. Box 248 in Chardon. We are from Chardon. We're a local business. We've been in business since 2018. We service roughly a little over 12,000 dwellings, mostly around this area. I don't know if you folks are familiar with us. On Mondays, if you head out of Chesterland or into Chesterland, you'll see our bright blue totes. Like I said, we've been in business since 2018. We are honored to have the opportunity to bid on your single hauler contract, and we look forward to being able to perform that service.
I just have a couple of questions. I was reading through the information, and if you were awarded the Kirtland contract, would you have to get more equipment and more people?
We wouldn't necessarily have to, however, we would, just to simplify things and make life easier. So to answer your direct question, we don't need to, but we would.
Right. And if you were awarded the contract, how would the transfer go between containers? Like I noticed on your equipment list, it talked about a vehicle and a trailer, I believe. How would that go?
Yeah, so it's a good question. With approval from you folks, we would like to start that in the beginning of December, probably take about 2-3 weeks. We would need a location in or around the area to bring trucks in and get them unloaded and disperse them to customers. And that would be in-house. Our employees would most probably be doing that. A lot of times in these situations, the manufacturer would supply people to do that. We feel it's important to have our staff doing that to maintain positive customer contact.
And do you feel that your company will be able to do Kirtland in 2 days?
Absolutely, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I noticed in your bid package that you don't do a ton of municipal work, but you do a lot of condos and whatnot. Is there a reason you catered your business to like that segment of the market?
Yeah, so great question. The majority of our work is subscription service. If you're not familiar with subscription service, that is what most of Jugged County is made of, which means basically the customer has a right to choose their hauler. They don't have a single hauler contract. So we believe we have about 35 to 40% of our subscription in our county. However, those numbers are tough when you're competing with 4 companies. Basically, if you're a resident in a subscription area in Jugged County, where we mostly do our work at, you would have a choice between us or, depending what area, could be 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 companies. So that's the majority of our work. And in those areas, I'll just throw out there Russell, Novelty. There is a lot of condos and HOAs that were in that area, and we have acquired them over time. And we also provide service to the village of Bracknell, which we just started this past January, and that's a 5-year contract.
So that would be that's your only, like, so to speak, city contract?
For right now, yes, it is, sir.
Okay. And per subscription, I guess, I understand the concept. I know I spoke with Mr. Fernando. He says Chester's, let's like that. When you have 4 or 5, obviously we're not doing that. Kirtland's not going to be a subscription, where you can pick that type of thing out. In these other cities, do all the trucks, if there's 4 different contractors doing a street, do they all have to do it on Monday or Tuesday, or are they spread out? You might have 5 different drivers or 5 different companies coming down the street 5 different days, so to speak, picking up different customers.
Yes, great question. Anywhere that we currently service subscription-wise, there is no mandate on what day of the week. So in some instances, we're picking up the same day as Rumpke. And then in some instances, they might be 3 different days a week where, Clarendon Township has different vehicles coming down their roads.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with this, kind of completely different.
Sure.
It's more out of curiosity. I just wonder how that worked in the city, so.
Just, I read through your packet, but I just want to hear it from you, like, what makes you different or better than everyone else?
That's a great question. I think the main key I can focus on is I feel it's very important today to keep local business thriving, and we are indeed 100% a local family-owned company that, we started a few years ago, and we're doing great, and we have a great rapport, and we want to keep that going. I think it's very important to support local businesses.
And like, what is the future, do you think, for your collection trucks hold? Like, I know finding a CDL driver is not the easiest thing to do anymore, but like, I'm always rooting for the underdog.
Yeah.
And like, a lot of your competitors have a lot more gear.
Sure.
And like, if you've got 20 trucks now, do you think you'll have 30 trucks next year?
Yeah, absolutely. We're consistently growing and adding to our fleet. We try to keep a up-to-date, maintained fleet. We keep everything for about 60 months, and then we, try to decipher, are we going to keep this thing for another 1 or 2 years, or is it time to get rid of it? Because I think it's important to keep updated equipment out on the roads.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamer. Any other questions for, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't get your last name.
It's Horvath.
Horvath. Thank you, Mr. Horvath. Any questions for Mr. Horvath? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Representative from Waste Management?
Okay.
So, first to start off with Vince Crawford with Waste Management, 9954 Old State Road, Chardon, Ohio. Good to see you all again. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about the bid that Waste Management submitted. And if you had the privilege of looking through the bid spec, that was very thorough, about 40 pages. There are a lot of requirements in that, and I believe that we met or exceeded all of those requirements. Some of those I've just kind of listed out here on page 2, as far as the servicing communities of a similar size for a duration within the past 10 years, listing the trucks that we have available to service not only this community, but all the areas that we service. Basically, some of the safety standards that we have on our truck, and we are committed to keeping the collection days the same as they are now, Monday and Tuesday, no changes in our routes. Our trucks are equipped with the camera systems for service verification. And then the bid also specified kind of the evaluation process to go through on the selection, strength of qualifications, references, and innovations. So on the next page there, just listed our 3 references that we had in our bid spec. We've been servicing the city of Twinsburg since 1995. Similar service, trash and recycling with carts, automated service, about 6,500 homes. The city of Geneva, almost an identical size to Kirtland, 2,200 homes. We've been servicing them since 2003, trash and recycling service as well. And then the city of Mentor, our largest customer that we've been servicing since 1992, 16,000 homes, trash and recycling. And Mentor also has a yard waste collection program that we provide. And then obviously the city of Kirtland, we've been here for the last 15 years as your service provider, and we appreciate that. I have listed on here this long list of numbers. This is all of our trucks at our Chardon hauling site. So we have currently 53 trucks in total. 32 of those would be the residential type of trucks. So we also have the commercial front loaders that do the dumpsters around the city here, and then roll off containers as needed. But 32 residential trucks, primarily the front load Corrado can, which is what you see through your community, where the automated arm dumps that in the front. And we also run some side loaders and some rear load trucks as well. And we have the little mini packers, which are required. We have just a few residents in the community that still utilize the drive-in service, but we have those trucks for them. to be able to go into their homes. We do not want to take our big trucks into anybody's driveway. On the next page, I listed here our camera system, and I forgot to introduce Chris Sumrock, our district manager, is here with me tonight, that if there's an operational question that I can't answer, he'll definitely jump in. But, the safety technology of this drive cam system, I think, is a real differentiator for Waste Management. And this is one of the things that does make us different than our competitors, because this is a big expense to have this piece of equipment on our truck, because we have a third-party company that verifies what our drivers are doing. Now, this is not an I Spy. It's not a camera system that's on our guys all the time, but there's a camera that's facing out and one that's facing in the cab. And if that driver does something we call an evasive action, such as he swerves the truck real hard or he slams on the brakes, that's when that camera system starts recording. And what's important about that is that now goes back to the route manager, who's able to sit down with that driver at the end of the day and say, what were you doing out there? How do we coach that driver up to be a better driver? And we're getting that feedback to our drivers consistently. When you have all these people out on the road, even if you only have 4 guys out on the road, you can't monitor them. But this system helps us with that. The other piece of technology that this system now has is it detects if you're on the radio or you're on your phone. Our trucks are set up with tablets, so we don't have two-way radios anymore. But it's an absolute fireable offense for our people if they're operating heavy equipment and on their phone. And that camera system will pick that up and tell, so we know that driver is doing something they're absolutely not allowed to do. Our managers aren't allowed to do that either. In their pickup trucks, they're going to pull over and take that phone call. And then lastly, where this camera system has evolved to with AI technology is if that driver is driving down the road and let's say he's a little bit too far to the right, it's going to shoot him an audible signal. We can't self-correct it. It's not a Lexus. It's not a Mercedes, but it's going to give that driver the knowledge of, hey, you're doing something wrong. Pay attention. So it's really a big differentiator for us. On the next page is our other camera system, which this is what we're using to verify that the service is completed, to see what's out at the curb, and also to see what's going in the truck. So this whole camera system is tied into your online account. It's tied into the GPS tracking the truck. So when we're at your house, we know we're picking up your cart. And when that material goes in the truck, we know it's yours. So if somebody is doing something with their recycling, such as let's say they're still putting in black plastic bags, we're going to be able to see that and notify that resident, hey, you're doing this wrong. Those recyclables need to go into that cart, not bagged. So that's an innovation for a piece of the recycling, what we're doing there. But that system is also very helpful for bulk. If we have a resident that we didn't pick up their bulk and they call in, we can look it up and say, oh, well, we see you have a mattress there and it needs to be wrapped in plastic. You get that wrapped in plastic, we'll be able to pick it up. Our other innovations on the next page, I'm on this one here, is that, with the recycling, we have obviously a very nice website suite of things that people can download, whether it's the myths about recycling, or it might be just the list of, hey, these are the only acceptable items to put in recycling. But we also have YouTube videos. We have Facebook postings that can be sent out to the community and to our customer base. And now we also have a curriculum that can be used by the teachers. It'll teach really basically kindergarten through 5th grade, the do's and don'ts of recycling. So really, obviously have a very large push on sustainability and recycling. We're just finishing up our $35 million recycling plant in Oakwood. That will actually come online with a ribbon cutting next week. So, this is very important that we get this information out to our customers and our residents. But along with that is, the notification system. This is something that we do extra that other communities don't. Every week, if you're signed up on with a waste management account, or every other week rather, you're going to get the notification that it's your week for recycling pickup. This last week, any of you that have that account, you would have got the notification that it was a holiday week and that we weren't coming on Monday, that your service is getting pushed today. So we have that technology to give information out to the residents so they're not calling into you or to City Hall to say, oh, is it the Do we have to, wait a day for our trash collection? The other place where that does really help is we have winter here. If there is an actual delay, we're able to notify those residents, hey, the roads have been shut down, school's not running, the post office isn't coming, and neither are we. That does happen every once in a while with the weather, but we're able to reach out to those customers and let them know. And then obviously we do have the online chat and email. And then the next piece is where we're going with the technology is that when you have that account, you can go onto your account and you can schedule your bulk pickup without having to call in the customer service. If the wheel on your cart is broken and needs to be replaced, you can do that online, just like going through Amazon. You're just going to go through there and say, this is what's wrong with my cart. I need it exchanged, and we're going to take care of it. And we pushed that technology all the way from the computer onto your phone. So you can do it right from your phone, all those same things, managing your account, paying your bill. Whatever you need to do on your account, you can do it from your phone. And then I already talked about our trucks having the GPS tracking and the computers that tie into your account. And then second to last page I think I'm at here is disaster emergency response. I think this is, one of the key things. I heard a lot of people talk about the storms in the last 2 weeks that we just experienced in Mentor, right? And luckily we didn't have to have that here in Kirtland. But, if you think back to when COVID happened, not necessarily a storm, but it was a difficult time to provide service. And during that time of COVID, there are many communities in Northeast Ohio and around the country that suffered delays in their service because there weren't those drivers and the people were sick or whatever the reason was, service wasn't happening. But Waste Management, we took care of our people and we took care of the city. Week in and week out, all during COVID, we were always here. Now, we did ask people to hold off on that bulk for that about three month time frame. We said, please don't put any bulk out. But we came through and we provided that essential service of trash and recycling collection. And in the years since, and I believe you asked the question about, how about, getting the CDL drivers. It's not the easiest thing to get anymore. We don't have the waiting line, but we are constantly recruiting and making sure we're taking care of our people. And right now, I think the last statistic I saw, the truck driver shortage in America is about 60,000 positions open. We've done a great job of keeping our seats full, our staffing at 100%. And we've always been here for the city of Kirtland and will continue to do so. So just talking about the storms that hit Mentor, we had significant yard waste damage in Mentor. The number of trees that came down were unbelievable. And not only did the city have to pick that up, but because we have a contract that we have to provide that service, residents are allowed to put out 12 bags or cans or bundles or whatever. So in the summertime in August, it's usually about every fourth house has some yard waste clippings. It's not a whole lot. Well, we had to get extra trucks and we have that ability. So throughout Northeast Ohio, we were able to call on our sister company in Cleveland, which is actually right in the Solon area, and also some resources from our Youngstown facility. So we had additional trucks and drivers that were able to come up. They were here Monday through Thursday for us to help provide collection in the city of Mentor and be able to keep them on track and help get their city cleaned up. So just as a reference is, if this were to happen in Kirtland, if it was a flooding situation, I remember way back when it was probably 2006 or something, there was huge floods through the area. We were able to get those resources that weren't affected by those storms to come up and assist. And so we have about 184 operational people in those districts, and such are mechanics and drivers, and 211 trucks at our disposal to make sure that we're here to service the city of Kirtland. But again, as I talked about a little bit, our proposal, the services is what's key. That's the differentiator. And we do that by hiring the right employees. That starts with our success in our training of these people. We actually have a facility in Florida where we send our drivers to, and that's where they go for 2 weeks when they come on board. Then we have consistent coaching and reinforcing of our standards, not only for safety, but for service. So our people have expectations and we want to make sure that they're meeting. our management team actually has a requirement to go out and see specific drivers on schedule to make sure whatever that schedule is, 90, 190 days, 180 days, they're kind of reviewing. Yeah, so they're reviewing those drivers that they're following safe. It's not just always just relying on this camera system. Our managers are out in the field because we want to be safe in your community. And then we do own and operate our landfill and our recycling plant. I just talked about that new investment in that. And so that obviously will help us through the duration of the contract, that those resources are always available to the community. But as I worked on this bid and worked on this presentation and reread the specifications, the city received four bids, which is good. You always want more bidders. But the bid doesn't specify that the award has to go to the cheapest. And I know we're not the cheapest. I think we have a lot of reasons why we're not the cheapest. We have a lot of extra innovations, a lot of additional things that we provide the residents. But the bid does specify that it goes to lowest and best. And I do believe that, Waste Management is best as far as the value of what we can offer the residents. And I think a lot of that has to do with our 15 years of service here in the community that has gone very well. And I would hope that you would provide a vote for Waste Management tonight to retain us as your trusted service provider.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Any questions for Mr. Crawford?
With your camera system, what do you do with the data and where do you store it? And how long do you store it?
Which kind of data is that?
Your camera system you're talking about.
Do you know how long the camera system data is?
All right, thank you.
And is that done by a third party?
Yes.
On that? Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Crawford, two questions. Explain to me the process if one of your drivers happens to damage a mailbox, what occurs? And secondly, you spoke of the damage caused by a storm. You said that was already part of your contract with the city of Mentor, or were those extra costs passed on to the citizens to clean up the storm?
So the city of Mentor actually has a disaster management portion of their contract. So that kind of like a FEMA piece is like, yes, they ask for those additional resources to come in. So that their contract is different than most in that, yeah, you don't have other communities that have that type of a yard waste program. Well, I guess in other parts of Lake County, like Willoughby has that, but I don't know if they have a disaster management piece like Mentor does.
Okay, and you answered the second question first.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, go back to the mailbox. So I think you can jump in if I do this wrong, but I think I have this correct. So we're going to have, obviously, that camera system may or may not show if we did the damage, right? So we often, and we've had this, I've seen it where we've pulled up and the mailbox is already damaged because we have pictures of it as we're servicing the community, or the customer rather. If we did do it, that process would be is that it would get called in. Usually that resident's going to call customer service. It may come into the service department and then get to us. Our route manager goes out there. His job is to take down all the details because it's an insurance claim. It's no different than me hitting somebody else's car. It's now an insurance claim. So the route manager will get all that information, turn it over to the insurance company. The insurance company at that point is going to work directly with the resident and pay whatever it is to have that mailbox fixed. Is that correct how that process goes?
I guess, Mr. Horvath, if you want to share that as well after Mr. Crawford's done.
Yeah, back 15, 20 years ago, somebody might just run out there with a mailbox and slap it on and, be done with it. But unfortunately, that's just our company protocol, is that any type of property damage needs to go through the proper channels of an insurance claim.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Crawford? Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Mr. Horvath, if you'd like to step up. How you doing?
Which question do you want me to answer about the mailbox?
Yeah, how your company.
So basically, has happened. It happened actually quite recently. If we were to damage a customer's mailbox, our driver would call me, and I would probably be there within 20 minutes and probably make contact with the resident by knocking on their door, and we would figure out what they want to do. If they want insurance to take care of it, we would definitely do that. If they just wanted their mailbox fixed, we would go ahead and fix that for them. We had one last winter, our truck actually slid into it a little bit, and we had it fixed that day. The same exact mailbox. We went to Home Depot, got it, and we installed it for them.
Okay, thank you. In terms of the emergency contract services, is that, I don't believe that was part of our specification.
Yeah, it wasn't in the spec for any kind of disaster relief or anything like that.
That is a part of our contract, the emergency.
Yeah, we didn't ask for that.
He was just speaking on behalf of Mentor, I think.
Sorry, Mr. Farrell.
That's not in our contract, but those dumpsters we talked about for residents to drop off stuff, that would be used in that case. So now we have the ability to get 40-yard dumpsters when we need them.
But they both quoted that though, correct? You're talking for the weekly pickups?
All 4 quoted them.
Gotcha, okay. Very good, thank you. That was the extra dumpsters we're gonna do once, kind of like our brush pickup. We're gonna put it up for each ward for a week at a time for spring cleanup and stuff, so everybody to quote that. I just wanted to confirm that, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Orbett? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Mr. Lallo, at this time, is something we have discussions on, decide on, or go on to next week with this and have discussions?
So there would have to be, there should be a recommendation to proceed on this.
Okay.
So, sorry, there should be a recommendation to proceed on this and go from there. I don't know if it's in the bid documents or not, if there's a specific timeline.
There was not, so
Okay.
that was just another service committee meeting.
Correct, and then
Come
the
with a
service committee, yeah. and then the
Recommendation
service-
to council for, at the next meeting.
Correct. I would agree with Mr. Fernaro here and recommend that the service committee convene another meeting.
Okay.
They can formalize a recommendation at that point.
And we, Scott and myself had especially without Mr. Fenstermaker there, had difficulties making a recommendation going, without having everybody on council look at,
Correct.
see the data and stuff.
Correct. So it would merely be a recommendation, or it would be the recommendation, and then
Scott, do you have any?
with the hopes that legislation be on the next agenda.
No, I think we should kick it back to the committee and hash it out and then make a recommendation to council. And
Obviously,
That's exactly, yes.
yeah, this is a ticking clock right now because we do have to get this turned over in a couple months or within 6 weeks probably, right? Is that when? Ideally, we want these one way or the other, Mr. Fernaro?
I would like that committee meeting to meet soon
Yeah,
with a recommendation back to council at the next council.
okay.
So we could go 3 readings.
Want to shoot for maybe a Saturday or early next week meeting? We have a P&Z, I believe, next Monday. We could do something before.
We have coffee with council this Saturday.
Yeah.
So why don't we just meet before coffee with council or after?
I'll be out of town.
5.
He's out of town. When are you in town?
Mr. Fernaro, would that work with you?
5 a.m.
Or after coffee with council?
5 a.m., 6 a.m.
Let's make it 3:30.
Did you say, is that 5 a.m.?
You want to shoot it for an 8 or 9 o'clock a.m.?
It's Saturday.
Okay, well, Scott's going through,
Saturday.
Scott's pretty
Okay,
much
that's
done,
fine.
so if you can make it, and if anybody else on council would like to show up for that, they're more than welcome for that meeting, but,
I'll be available by phone.
okay.
We'll call you.
Mr.
8 o'clock.
Fenstermaker, that's you, me, and Scott, so you want to shoot for 8 o'clock? We can meet 8 o'clock to clear it up and have time for the coffee with council starts at 10. Mr. Fernaro, 8 o'clock Saturday morning?
Perfect.
Mayor, that work okay with you? Okay. Ms. Raleigh, if you could schedule it, 8 a.m., that would be, correct. That would be, sorry, September 9th, correct? 8 a.m.?
Just want to thank Waste Management and Dumpster Bandit for coming tonight. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys stopping and speaking to council on it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. You too. Bear with me for a second, just out of the schedule. Okay, and with that, we are on to correspondence. Denise, I didn't see any correspondence. Was there anything I was supposed to read, public correspondence? Thank you. Public comments on matters not on the agenda. Open up to the. Ms. Talty, you could,
Yeah, if you don't mind,
address, please.
yeah.
Hello, Catherine Talty. I was just wondering, Mr. Smolik, with Dumpster Dan, what they do with their recyclables.
I'd imagine they recycle it. I'll have to find that out, who they go through then, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Ms. Talty, I'm sorry, we need your address as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, 8815 Fox Hill Drive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I will ask them,
I'll follow up for you.
who recycles their recycles, I guess, okay. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Smolk, I know that it's going to go to the committee for the recommendation. Could all the proposals be sent to council
Correct, okay.
instead of just the
Okay.
two that were moved forward?
You gonna be available, Matt? You want to show up on Saturday?
I'm
Open,
foreseeing
they're always
right
open to council, so,
now. I'm aware of that.
okay, I will forward that up. Okay, any other questions pertaining to that? We'll go with the committee meeting, and, we're back on the public comments on matters not on the agenda. Was there anything else? Any other public comments? Not at this time? Okay, on to old business. Now for public comments on agenda items of old business. Any public comments? The only old business is the jake breaking, so did anybody have any comments on that? Not at this time? Okay, on to ordinance number 23-0-58. Second reading, an ordinance adopting sections 401.125 and 432.44 of the codified ordinances of the city of Kirtland regarding the prohibition of engine brakes within the city and declaring an emergency. This was second reading, so this will be coming third reading this week passing. So was there anything, are we all adjusted on the language on that, Mr. Lello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, on to new business. Any public comments on the agenda items of new business? Open up to the public. Not at this time. Okay, on to resolution number 23-R-61, a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them for the county auditor. I believe we needed to pass this one tonight for Mr. Slapnicker. Going to need a motion.
Motion to waive the three readings.
A second.
Ms. Grazia, second. That was Ron. Sue? Okay. Any questions or comments? Ms. Rowley?
Mr. Gennaro? I just wanted to go back for a moment. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Go right ahead.
Did I say for not, Mr. Small? Did you happen to?
Small, needed one's good.
Yeah. Did you happen to read the text of that 23058?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Somehow I may have missed it. I just wanted to
okay.
make sure it was read.
That's okay. I saw there was a butterfly you were looking at before.
So my apologies. But all right.
I did read that, didn't I? Do you remember saying
Yeah.
401.125, 432?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
And so we're on 23R61, and there was a motion to waive the three readings that was moved by Ms. Grazia? Or
Mr. Fenstermaker, and then seconded by Ms. Grazia.
Okay, and we're at that point. So I just wanted to make sure
Okay,
we're
thank you.
all on the same page.
Appreciate that, Mr. Lello. Okay, was there any discussion? Ms. Rowley?
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Okay, we don't need an okay, so we go on to the next. Okay.
No, motion to adopt would be needed.
So moved.
There we go.
Okay.
Mr. Smolik moved to adopt.
Gotcha.
Second.
Mr. Schultz? Mr. Fenstermaker? Okay, any discussion? Ms. Rowley, please?
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance number 23-0-62, an ordinance authorizing the city of Kirtland to enter into a contract to purchase one 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD pickup truck from Serpentini Auto Group and declaring an emergency. Any discussion? Gonna need a motion?
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
Second.
Scott with a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Hey, now we need a motion to declare an emergency.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Scott.
Okay, any discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Oh, one question
Oh, sorry.
for the mayor, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but this is a cash purchase. There's no financing involved.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You mean she gets a suitcase full of cash and goes buys it that way? Oh, we write a check on for it. Gotcha, okay. Ms. Raleigh?
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Okay. On to ordinance number 23-0-63, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract to purchase one Kubota excavator from Akron Tractor and Equipment Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
No,
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
yes.
Motion.
And the language I could provide if you'd like.
Please do.
Okay, so it would be to add at the very end of section 1, prior to the period, and shall be paid out of fund number 100, comma, the city's general fund.
So moved.
Second.
And just so, now that it's seconded, the sentence will read as follows. Said purchase is hereby authorized for a price not to exceed $67,594.89 and shall be paid out of fund number 100, comma, the city's general fund, period.
Then we need a
Gotta vote
reading
on
on the amendment.
So there needs to be a vote on this motion to amend,
Okay.
so that there's the motion and the second. So
Okay, on the
if there's
motion
any
to amend.
discussion,
Any discussions on the language? Ms. Raleigh?
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Now we go on to waive the 3 readings. We need a motion for waive the 3 readings.
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
A second.
Who was second? Ms. Grazia? Okay. Any discussion? Ms. Raleigh, roll.
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Okay, and now a motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Matt and Ron. Any discussion? Ms. Raleigh?
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Resolution number 23-R-64, a resolution accepting the bid of Eclipse Companies LLC for its work on the Rockwood Drive Drainage Improvement Project and declaring an emergency. Mr. Recorder, I believe we wanted this one waived also? Okay. Need a motion to waive the 3 readings?
Motion to waive the 3 readings.
Second.
Any discussion or questions on this? Ms. Raleigh?
Ms. Grazia,
Yes.
Mr. Hamer,
Yes.
Mr. Scholes,
Yes.
Mr. Smolik,
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Okay, now we need a motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions?
Mr. Courtney, what was the what was the high bid? I know we accepted Eclipse at the 71,543, then plus some inspection costs.
Right.
What was the high bid? Just out of curiosity, I forgot to ask.
I'll run down all four bidders real quick. Eclipse was at 73,635.50.
I think that was the attachment.
Lake County Landscape, 77,479. Cook Paving and Construction, 82,880. And Neroni and Sons, 86,520. So the first three bids were under the estimate. The last bid was just over the estimate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Where were we at? Did we have a motion to waive the 3 readings, correct? Now we need a reading?
No, there was already the motion to declare an emergency and adopt.
Yes, okay, we're, okay.
So,
We're on the
yeah, we
final,
had the
gotcha,
discussion.
okay. Ms. Rowley?
Ms. Grazia?
Yes.
Mr. Hamer?
Yes.
Mr. Scholes?
Yes.
Mr. Smolik?
Yes.
Mr. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Okay, that does it for the resolutions today. On to council comments. Any council comments?
Mayor, just back to that summary. You think Lewis can have that to us this week?
This week as in Friday?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it'll take very long, so
I didn't think so, but yeah.
I'll speak for Lewis and say
Talk to the
sure.
equipment list?
Yeah.
I'll try putting one.
Mr. Fenstermaker, just for clarity, do you want to go starting January 1st, go back a year?
Yeah, just what we purchased in 23.
Okay. Do you want the 2 dump trucks at the end of 20?
I do, because
Okay, so why don't we
yes.
just go back 1 year?
Yeah, can we
Yeah.
Do that?
Yeah.
Last 12 months?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I can put a quick thing. I think I remember most of them. I can send it over to Lewis just to verify the cost on them also, so.
It doesn't.
Okay, any other council comments? Any other continuing concerns from our residents? Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Needs a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.